What is up, guys? Here we have a top 16 deck profile here with the man who played Shanks. It's going to be a very high rarity deck. I would say the highest rarity I would see, unless there's like some pre-release cards that aren't. Are there some cards that are pre-released?
There's not. No second anniversaries.
Okay,
yeah.
But you have the rest, in the highest rarity possible.
Yep.
So you played Shanks, and it has like a nearly 50% win rate against most of the deck.
Yep.
In the meta.
Yep.
Was there like a deck that you were afraid of playing against as you were playing this deck?
Yeah, it was definitely Lucci.
Okay.
Lucci was probably the hardest matchup, and I do have some cards that are teched in for Lucci matchup. Aside from that, I was very comfortable into Dofi. I was pretty comfortable into Luffy, and then Mirror, I'm comfortable as well.
Yeah.
So it was mainly just a Lucci matchup.
What's your name, by the way?
Vince.
Vince?
Yeah.
And are you from this area,
No,
Florida?
I'm actually from California, from NorCal.
Oh,
San
NorCal.
Jose. Yeah.
I was there for the Santa Clara regionals back in the day.
Yep.
Were you there?
I was, yeah. Actually, that's when I started playing. I think that was my first regional. I started playing in February of last year.
Wow, so you fast tracked. You grew really fast.
Yep.
And you started late.
Yep.
So that's really good. So that means you have some card playing skills that probably transferred over from another card game, I'm assuming?
Definitely. Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic. Just
Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic.
Stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Let's see the profile real quick, and then we'll go into your matchups.
Sure. So real quick, just for one drops, I have the Searchers, for Uta. Originally, I was running for Uta and a search event just for consistency, but then I ended up deciding against that. For Uta was enough just to see curve, because of course everyone knows in this deck, if you don't see curve and you don't curve out, it's a pretty bricky deck.
Okay.
So that's for the Searchers. For 2Ks, I am running 14 2Ks. So it's going to be 3 Sanjis. We have 4 Utas. We have 3 Lime Juice. And then we have 4 Hondo. Reasoning for Sanjis is, I think some people don't really think about it. This is mainly for the Blackbeard matchup. Also that random Manel that you might run into in Swiss, where they'll Kuzan stuff and put in your life. This is kind of to lessen your life while getting card advantage, and just kind of helping the matchup, because they're just going to keep putting life, and then they're going to Yamato everything that you have.
I see. Okay, cool.
So that's the ratios. Originally it was 3 Otama, 4 Lime Juice, just because I wanted more search hits for red hairs for Uta, but I felt like Otama definitely was important, so I did cut the 4th Lime Juice for the 4th Otama.
Okay, sweet. And it's all finalists. Look at that.
Yep. All finalists. And then for mid-range stuff, we're gonna have
Mr. Lucky Roo.
4 Lucky Roos. So a lot of people don't like this card just because in the Dofi matchup it can get bounced by Bounce Law. But in a mirror scenario or even Poofy, if you drop 2 of these, it's very hard for them to correctly dedicate Dawn and swing out in an efficient way without another thing getting popped.
Okay.
It's also really good in the BY because if they have a Fist Luffy out and they swing, this pops an original 6K attack, not an even if it's an 8K.
Okay, sweet.
So definitely needed blockers at least, and these were the best blockers. I have 4 Yasop. Decided 4 Yasop. Very good card. It gives you 6K. It stems the bleeding by a lot, even though that 1K doesn't seem like much. And then just the 1 Dawn in conjunction with another card that I play, that when swinging -1 does help a lot.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, with this guy, you have a 7K leader for 1 attack.
Yeah.
So I think it's good.
Exactly.
Without bleeding.
And then we have the tech I put in, which is 3 aces. 3 aces just because, like I said in the beginning, the Lucci matchup was my most feared matchup.
Okay.
All my friends basically play Lucci, and I did a lot of stress testing. And then I felt like whenever I had an ace on curve, it definitely lessened the gap, even if they saw all their geckos and all their ice ages. Enough to get me to the point where I can just keep going for things. Of course, you don't get the rush because you're not a Whitebeard pirate.
Yeah,
but you get the removal effect, which is amazing.
Which is the most important part.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's it for mid-range.
Let's go into the top ends.
So top ends, I have
4 Rayleigh, right?
I have 3 new gates.
Okay.
3 new gates. Originally I was running 2, but after testing into Dofi, I felt like this was also needed to be seen. If you take first, you can definitely drop a Yasop, and then if they don't remove the Yasop, you get a free double pop on the next turn on a 6K and a 5K.
Got it.
Because you're going to be swinging 7 into a Rested, and then popping the other when it got reduced by 1.
Okay, makes sense.
Those were good. We have 4 Beckman.
Yes, you have to have this guy.
Pretty much no need for explanation on him. Trash his stuff. It's a 1K counter, surprisingly. And
I know, right?
And another search hit, so definitely needed 4 of him. And then for the rest of the top end, I have 3 Dragon. Originally running 2, but then felt like in the mirror, super important, especially if you're going second to drop this on curve. It applies a lot of pressure. It's also good into Blackbeard. It's also good into, I would say, Floofy as well, if of course you already dealt with board and they don't have a board. So we got that. And then we have, of course, we have the 4 Rayleighs. 4 Rayleighs, kind of no need to explain on that.
That's so good.
Those, obviously, main point of the deck is for control, and of course that does the job. It also does stem the bleeding by just reducing stuff, and you don't need a. They can't use them unless they dedicate on. So of course those, and then I have 4 Rush Shanks.
Wow.
10 drops. Of course, strong card. Everyone knows what it does. -1 to everything as long as it stays on the field. If you drop 2 of these and they can't get rid of them, you're pretty much winning at that point.
Yes, of course.
And then for tech choices, I have the 1 Pop Shanks. This is mainly for the mirror. If I'm forced to go first, I will drop a Hongo on 9 and drop a Yasop as well. And then if they decide to 10 drop, rush 10 drop, I can tap my Hongo and then just pop their 10 drop. So get tempo back.
Very useful,
Also get into Enel. Of course, not many Enels. And sometimes Floofy, but other than that, pretty much a tech. Last 2 techs was a kick course, of course.
Only 1?
1, just because I felt like I only needed to see 1. When I saw 2, I felt like it was too much. Definitely need at least 1 just for all the bricks that are definitely in this deck.
Yeah, so many.
And then the last one, this was mainly just Cope, 1 Red Hawk.
Why Cope?
It was Cope because it's like, if the opponent was going for lethal that turn, and my last life was a Red Hawk, and that's the reason why I won the game. That's pretty much the Cope.
I'm so good at this game.
Other than that, it's also, I put it in as a tech because originally, like I said in the beginning of the video, this was supposed to be a search event for red hairs. But I felt like in Top Cut, since everyone can see each other's list.
Really?
So in
I
Top
didn't know
Cut,
that.
everyone sees each other's list.
Oh, I had no idea. I'm
so
sorry.
In the matchups, if I left 2 Dawn up, now in the back of their mind, they're like, okay, does he have the Red Hawk or does he not? So it was also a Top Cut mentality.
There you go. I like that.
Yep.
But you didn't know that when you made this. You just made this as Cope.
Yep. It was purely Cope, and I was like, you know what? Actually, my buddy who I actually helped build this list with me, his name's Key. He's actually the guy who's going to Worlds. He got second at the last Nats. We kind of cooked this up, and this is what we kind of stuck with.
All right. So you worked with the brains. What were your matchups throughout the whole day?
Matchups, I actually have all that. So for Swiss, first was Lucci. Won that one. Second round was another Lucci. And then got that one. We got a Floofy.
So you won your Lucci matchup, which is good.
Yep, 2 Luccis. They were good. The first one, no shade, but they did misplay a couple times, which did cost them the game. They forgot stuff was reduced, so they swung with the reduced characters, fizzling out.
Oh, with the silver.
Okay. Second Lucci, that one was a close one. It just came down to a couple K counters. Really. We have a Floofy, round 3. That one I took. That one was a kind of a high roll. I had 3 Rayleighs in hand and just dropped 3 Rayleighs back to back, and of course there's nothing there. The 4th round was a mirror. Luckily I won dice roll, and then I saw my top end, so I was just be able to chain that. Then 5th round was another Floofy. That one wasn't as high roll as the prior one, but that one was closer. He did do his typical Floofy stuff, go first, drop, Zoro,
bombs,
Floofy Taro. But we were able to stem the bleeding enough to get to our 10 drops and take
over.
These next 2 rounds are where I have my 2 losses in the bracket because I went X2 day 1. We have a Bonnie. I just misplayed, and I definitely saw my misplay. I was being very greedy. I had a Pop Shanks in hand, but instead of actually using it to get rid of a Hody,
face.
I just kept going face, and I was like, oh, I'll deal with it later. And then at the very end, when I swung 19 into his lead, 22K counter. So is that 6?
Wow.
22K counter.
22K counter,
7th round was Teach. That one, I just couldn't do anything. He took second. On 4 Dawn, he dropped a Burgess. On 8 Dawn, he dropped 2 more Burgesses.
Yeah,
and
they're huge.
Yeah, they're just 9, 10K.
Yeah.
So can't do anything about that. That one I'll take. Last 2 ones were Dofi.
Okay.
So first 2 Dofis, I played of the whole Swiss. Pretty comfortable into it. The first game did come down to a last 1K counter from life. So got lucky with that one. And then second Dofi was kind of just more a cruise than anything.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's my Swiss. I ended 26th in day 1. And then
X1?
X2.
X2, I'm sorry.
So luckily my breakers were pretty good, so I was able
there was
to
so
make
many
it.
X2s.
Yeah, there was a lot of X2s.
Fortunate.
Top cut for today. I was a lower seed into all my matchups, so of course opponent picks, but first game I played a Teach.
Okay.
He picked second, of course, I went first. But after looking at his list, I felt like my first curve was better into his build. He was running the Garp blockers, which I don't think you really see. He was running man cherries, he was running no stage. So pretty different build.
Yeah.
So couldn't really test into something like that, but got an idea of it. So we went 2-0 on that one. Went first on both games, so I felt good about that one. And then of course my top 16 one, which I did lose, was a Lucci.
Okay.
Won the first round, lost the second one, then lost the final.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, but you still teched out for it, and you came up with on top on a lot of matchups.
Yep.
And here you are, top 16 finish. Here's his little this stuff that he was able to get with top 16 with the playmat, all covered by the cards, and his Dawn is pretty cool too. I mean, I think these are expensive as well. I'm not sure. But yeah, thank you for the deck profile, and hopefully we see you more in the future, especially as a Shanks player.
Appreciate it.
All right, peace out.